Let's welcome you to this Local Voices Liberia Media Network podcast sponsored by Internews Liberia Media Development Program with funding from USAID. You can also download this podcast or listen to it again by going to our website www.localvoicesliberia.com or our Facebook page at Local Voices Liberia.
In episode 1, we took you on the journey into Buchanan Grand Bassa County, where Liberians joined the debate on public-private partnership for schools. It was very engaging and people-centric. A lot of views were expressed about the PPP model. In this second episode, we are on our way to Bopolu City in Bopolu County, where healthcare financing remains a topical issue. It has been a key development issue in Liberia since the end of the Civil War.
Episode 2, Healthcare Financing.
Bumpy and long ride, over 4 hours riding from Monrovia to Bopolu City. The road and the forest along it gives you a sense that you are far away from Monrovia City. After commuting through huge forest on a very rough road, we have finally arrived after more than 4 hours. The ambience in this city gives you a sense of what this 18-year-old city is. Just 18 years old, that means it's very young. Motorbike riders are honking, raising their engines randomly and moving on these dusty roads like they just don't care. Few new buildings are coming off the ground. Some old ones are just too many as well. Several makeshift mud huts are also very visible across the city. This is a city that, if you like, it is ages away from being a metropolis. But on the flip side, the fresh air from the calmness of the tropical forest just nearby, you may want to appreciate Mother Nature. There's always a good side to everything. Being away from the city and being in another city that is far from the noise of the urbanness gives you a sense of Mother Nature. Meanwhile, many Liberians here have put road connectivity on top of the list of their development priorities. Access to healthcare services is also a major challenge here.
If I'm sick and the hospital got medicine I ought to buy and PQ from all of it, I don't have problem with it.
Anytime you go to the hospital, if you didn't get job, all of the people they say go buy so medicine for yourself. If you know you say this, you didn't get the money now to buy the medicine now, then you find yourself in predicament.
It will not be helping the citizens for now because we are looking at the economic constraint in the country now. If my child gets sick, if I just go to the hospital and I don't have the money to pay for the drugs, so it means that my child will die because I don't have the money to pay for the drugs. So it's not helpful to me. It's not really helpful.
Well, we have nothing to do about it because we have no power to stop the NGO from going. People that are providing the medicine for all the medicine for us. And so for me, the way government want to do it, I think it will be fine because no way out. And so I think we can work with that system.
It will help us because, for example, when a patient sick in your hand and let's say 12 to 1, and you get to the hospital, suppose medicine not in the hospital, where will you get the drugs? Then the patient will end up dying. So it would be preferable that the drugs be in the hospital to be getting it there.
Paying for healthcare here is the responsibility of the government. But unfortunately, services at public health centers here are declining rapidly. Many patients complain that they are asked to buy essential drugs at private pharmacy or drugstores. Public health facilities often run out of drugs. It's an age-old problem affecting many counties in this country. Government is feeling the pressure as donor support shrinks or dry out. Many public health experts are now proposing that it is time for Liberians to bear some of the cost of healthcare. Is this a good idea? How could the people here sustain this proposed model of financing healthcare? I'm here again with my colleague Henry Boluma. Interestingly, Henry lives and works here in the city. How much discussions is the issue of healthcare financing generating here amongst the people of Bopolu City?
Quite frankly, Alpha in Bopolu City and in the 6 districts of Bopolu and also at the 15 health facilities, including the Chief General Medical Health Center here in Bopolu City. The people, most of the time, they talk about healthcare financing, and some of them, when they go to the various health facilities in the county, they issue them prescription, that is white paper, where they can go out to buy their own medicine. And something that it is not working for them, because when they go out in the street, they buy medicine from black beggars, people who can sell drugs on the street. They think like they can buy the rightful drugs. And so they think it's welcoming at this time if government intend to introduce a revolving drug system, that is, they ask citizens to pay for a drugs that in turn the health facilities can use to buy additional drugs so that drugs can be sustained in the hospital, in the various health facilities in the county. But then other people see it as a different thing, because this government came with a slogan, pro-poor, meaning that it is for the poor people. So they see that if this government try to introduce that, it will be against their own agenda. And so that is a debate on the ground.
That's my colleague Henry Boluman's take as it relates to the proposal of healthcare financing, a new idea being suggested by some public health experts. Let's now head to the city hall. Further up the hill here in the city, you have to walk a little distance from where we are to the top of the hill, and there where the administration compound is, where you have the magisterial court, you also have the city hall, and you have other installations like the county radio station. So you just stand up the hill and overlook the city and see the homes and see the landscape, how beautiful it is. So we're heading down to the city hall, where the community media forum is expected to begin in the next couple of minutes. We expect residents to weigh in on the advantages and disadvantages of this new plan being suggested by public health experts for the funding of healthcare in the country.
This is Local Voices Liberia Media Network. And the program today is the Community Media Forum focusing on health financing. We are going to now show you the development matters.
The attendance of participants here is a mixture of everyone. I can see the elderly, I can see women, I see students all dressed up in their uniform, even though today is a national holiday, but they've been parading the streets with the bands and doing the eyes right. So some of them have taken up time to attend this community media forum. And I also see several local officials. They were all invited to attend, so they are all pretty seated and will be ready to go very shortly.
We are going to now show you the development matters. We're going to put it up here so that you can watch it and you will have your own say as it relates to what you'll be seeing here on health financing.
Development matters, development matters. If for you, if for me, development matters, development matters.
Hello and welcome to Development Matters. On the program today, we have three people who are very much familiar with the health sector. First, we have Mrs. Ya Matozolia, a former Deputy Minister of Health for Policy and Planning and currently a private health consultant. We also have Mrs. Elizabeth Mulba, a former president of the West African College of Nursing and former deputy chair of the Governance Commission. Finally, we have Dr. Musoka Fala. He is the deputy director for technical services at the Liberian Public Health Institute. So, what are their key recommendations?
How to secure quality funding for healthcare in Liberia is, first of all, to accept the fact that nothing under the sun is free. Not even healthcare, the facilities we run, the health manpower, their salaries and benefits, the equipment and logistics, until we decide or agree to cost all these things here. And of course, the cost of drugs that an individual patient receives upon coming to the hospital or to the health center, that we cannot begin serious and productive discussion on the question of healthcare or how to fund and provide access to healthcare.
Our experts note that the pretense that healthcare is free often leads to more harm than good.
What my experience has seen is that where we have declared free healthcare, at the end of the day, it becomes more costly. And this is what I mean. Because it's free healthcare, the patient goes to the hospital. There are no drugs to serve. So the doctors, against their will, most of the time, have to give prescription. The patient goes outside. They don't know that some of the medicines they buy off the street, or even if some of our pharmacies are outdated or counterfeit, they go ahead and buy, and the next time we see them at our health post, they are worse than they were when they came first because of the effect of the outdated medication or counterfeit medications that they have used.
The total health expenditure, according to one of our studies that we did in 2013 to 14, it shows that when you put all of those expenditure together, what government is paying, what the donors are giving, what people are paying from out of their pocket, what the private sector is paying, it was close to $300 million. Annually, $300 million total health expenditure. Of that amount, 42% comes from people's pockets. The amount is 42% of that 300 million. So in essence, that's what the population is contributing out of their pocket health. The nation needs to begin to seriously start discussion on what we have coined the Liberia Health Equity Fund. This is a prepayment insurance scheme where resources are mobilized from all of the sources we just named, from the government, through the allocation and EMR taxes, from citizens, through premiums. So in the formal and informal sector, you can collect premiums, and then from the donors. And this can be pooled in a basket. And then you can now strategically purchase healthcare delivery both from the public and the private. So this time around, everybody will be bidding for that basket fund, mobilizing additional.
Thailand is a good example that have achieved universal health coverage out there. What they have done, they call it the 100 back, which is US dollar. Everyone pays the US dollar to get insurance. So there's a concept of opting in and opting out. And you look at the alternative. If you pay, say, $10 US, even though you're a willow market seller, you pay $10 US and you went for local treatment and your overall cost of payment is around $5. However, if you decide to opt out and you went for treatment in our scheme, you have to pay $50 US. So that's a kind of control knob. If I opt in, I pay less. But if I decide to stay out, I'm doing it at my own risks and my family risks. That's when we can get in. You can incentivize, we call it in public health notch, the informal sector to start to make some payment.
In that way, you will be able to cross-subsidize, those who have more money who are paying can pay for those who don't have. And people will not have to pay before you get treated because the system will be in place to take care of you. In that way, you will be reducing the out-of-pocket expenditure that we just talked about because you will have a clear mechanism of collecting, a formal way of collecting it, which will reduce the burden. And then you will have competition in the sector where the public and the private will be competing for that money. So the patients will have a choice of where to go. And in that way, it creates a healthy competition. So everybody will want to improve their services
If we
to have
provide
service so
universal insurance to our patients, what type of care can we cover? It's going to be fundamental. Can we create this insurance and let people do brain surgery on it and do kidney surgery on the basic insurance? No. It has not worked anyway, right? There is a basic insurance that it covers in the package. And then what happens in Canada and other countries, then you can take additional insurance as a buffer if you must do more specialized. Because now this is a pool, we're pulling the rigs together. We can pull this rig together and do all conditions at the same time, all specialization. We got to say, okay, what we do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. These will be basic that will provide under the insurance scheme. But if you anticipate that you want to have such specialist care, you got to pay a little bit, so other people will be able to take out all insurance.
And the Liberia Health Equity Fund is a proper initiative or mechanism where you pool the resources and those who cannot pay, those who are poor, will be subsidized, either by those who are paying more or by the government. So I think this is the right time for the government to begin that process of making the Liberia Health Equity Fund a reality.
Development matters. Development matters.
This is Development Matters.
So the viewing of Development Matters TV program is now over, and the reactions of people here show that it is important to hold these public discussions in the local communities outside of Monrovia, not just in the big cities, but in other cities in the country.
Yes, Alpha, I can recall definitely the conversation we had with Internews about taking these topics to the community level, making sure that the ordinary people of the country have their say. And now I realize the level of impact any community engagement can have on fostering development, especially at the stage where we are healthcare pharmacy.
And in most cases, it gives a broader understanding to the local people to have an idea of these policy issues, these decisions that are made in the city, in Monrovia.
Indeed, and that is one of the way the local people can feel that they are part of the government. Because if you take government issue to them and have them to make their input, and in that way as well, it can help the government to redesign strategy, to also come out with policy and programs that will also help to sustain the livelihood of the ordinary citizens in Liberia.
Speaking of community engagement, we also expect interesting views from the audience here. I'm sure many women will be given their time to have their say after the panel discussion. So right now we see the panel is being set for the panelists to come and start discussing the issue of healthcare financing very, very shortly.
So we will now take this time to move on to our first panelist, Mr. Bani.
Good morning to every one of you. Okay. Let me just give you a little historical background. How the issue of the free healthcare services came about. Every one of you bear with it that we went through 14 years of war in the country. And after that was crisis, there were donors upon donor, NGOs upon NGO that came in. So both of them that came in, most of them had interest in the health sector. In looking at the situation at that time, we are getting from war. Unemployment situation in circulation. People could not afford. So that our then president and long ago NGOs and donors didn't get necessary. So there is a case. What we can do is that to take care of the health sector, that when the people come, they will access free healthcare services. But today, when you look at our surrounding, you can no longer see those NGOs. They have gone. So we come back to the video. What we saw is something that is very, very important. And every one of us that have gathered here today, none of us will feel happy that the only child you have, you carry that particular child to the hospital, mainland, and somebody gave you a piece of paper and tell you, say, go buy some medicine because the medicine is not available. You check around, you don't even have the cash. At the end of the day, you lose your child. Will you feel comfortable? No. You will never feel comfortable. And most of us sometimes, we share blame on the health worker. We sometimes incriminate them. We sometimes tell them, say, all the medicine that have been supplied, they are taking over everything. I think what we need to do at this junction is to take matter into our own hand. Indirectly, you are paying for the fee. Because when they give you prescription, you walk to the drugstore, you purchase. Is that true? Yes. If there will be a minimum amount that you will pay at the hospital, it will be necessary for you. That when you are not well, they will look there and give you that particular drug. We need to reduce the dependency syndrome. We need to do something on our own.
They say when they rub in your back, rub your stomach. Free services. People will try their best. And we have to help ourselves. Talking to our lawmaker. Because I can see if when a lawmaker are not together, it will be very hard. Because they're supposed to help us. We're blaming the hospital, the doctors. But we shouldn't pour all the blame on them. Sometimes myself, when I go to the hospital, I'm sick, and they check me, do all my checking, they give me paper, so now I want to get first. But I look at it, the situation on the ground. Sometimes when I go to the place to open a pass, to get the medicine from there, the whole place is empty. No medicine. The pocket may match it.
Thank you, Madam Benu Jah. Yes. Okay, so the next person we want him to talk to us is Mr. Alex Saman. He is representing the civil society organization of Bopolu.
In order for somebody, the doctor over there, to serve you, certain things has to happen. Certain things has to be put in place. To be healthy, you need drugs. So many drugs that are not being manufactured here in Liberia. All the drugs that we use come from abroad, from other countries. So now we ask ourselves, we want good health, and we want good health care services provided. It came to a time when we think drugs are still coming, but when you find yourself go to the hospital, all you end up with, you spend 2, 3, 4 hours there. At the end of the day, you are given a piece of paper. You say, you have to buy this drug, you have to buy this because the drugs are not available.
The next person that we'll be moving to is Mr. Joseph Bana. He is a child survivor focal person of the county health team. Welcome.
We know it has been a problem for people going to hospitals, to clinics, they give them prescriptions. Yes, indeed, it has to happen. Because if you don't have all what you need at the clinic or at the hospital, people will do everything, but they have to give you paper to go to buy. And as we saw the video, the contribution to our health from our own pocket is 42%. That means we ourselves are paying for our health indirectly. We think that it's government that is responsible for us. Now, why can't we ourselves put ourselves together and pay something? And the money we pay is we that will be constrained. The hospital sees more than 150 patients a day. Amoxicillin, maybe 50% is for amoxicillin, which is supposed to carry 30. If you multiply the 50%, about 1,200 amoxicillin has gone out a day, remaining 800. It's a 3-month drop. Before 3 days, the drugs are out. You go, it's prescription. You will still go and buy the drug that you're supposed to get. But the potency, how is this drug good? We know it's difficult. If you look at what has been happening, NGOs has been giving us drugs. Now they are not there. We need to help ourselves. And the only way to help ourselves is to put together so that we all can work together and help ourselves. Now people, the ball is in our court. Even if we say free, you will still turn around and buy it. But if we are paying small money, you know, anything you pay for, you value it. Thank you, my people. Let's think about it so that we can get well, because health is wealth. Thank you.
Thank you. Health is wealth. You know, all right. This is Moba from Bopolu Central High. My question to them is, have the government come down with a specific price, or are they giving it with each health center to decide the amount to be paid? Question number one. Then one of the clarity I need is, when I was witnessing the video, I saw the lady saying one of the way forward is to use our resources that will aid us in getting the drugs. I want the clarity to be made on that.
Good afternoon to you. But when I do the Monday, we the women, we are vulnerable to those things. For me, Bopolu today, I'd be much better if I have money. I'm going to the health center and ask me to pay further. I'm going to pay that money. Why because our women are in better faster man? Why because women are in getting golela? Come back, Bama. So for me, this issue is not just something that can take. As I heard from the director, that the committee be set on a month be collected from the hospital. I think it should be decentralized, that women should form part of that board. And when that money be collected, we know how much will be paid, and we should be have a monthly report system put in place. Because this one we are reporting and make people to feel that we are cheating on them.
You see, when it comes to health, nothing is free. But in Liberia here, when they give you something where you don't pay money for, it's a free thing. I can remember right after the Ebola, the government sent mosquito net. Right in front of me in Fasama, they take the mosquito net, they put a dry meat inside, they put it on top of the tank. They take it to Moro. And right in Bopolu, they give you mosquito net, you put it around the grumpy for the mosquito not to eat the grumpy. We agree. So if the government come or say we should pay something to the hospital, if that means I will agree. Because if I do you something, that means the blessing is there.
We were doing it before, our parents were doing it before. But this one made us to get used to free thing. We got to decide from the free thing. Because if they give you free thing, you will not know the importance of it. Anything you don't spend money on, you will never take it to be serious. As my colleague Joseph Bana said, you will never know the importance. People here, they give medicine, free medicine, free of charge. You go to some houses now, it's there. So we got to try, especially the women. Just go to the women. We are vulnerable to everything. Every disease that comes, women are vulnerable to it. We have to accept what the government has come up with. If even if they are little amount, they say we should pay. We beg you for we should accept it and we go by it. Because we the one are suffering it.
First of all, I'm student Matthew T. I say at the Aerostar Memorial United Methodist School. My question has to do with those who are going to be in those villages. if they pay certain amount of money for health insurance. So how will they benefit it where there is no room and there is no clinic or hospital? So I want to know how will they benefit.
And another one, somebody talk about this can say where we don't have health facility. You know the Ministry of Health is a very unique area. The Ministry of Health plan health facilities based on what we call catchment population. Meaning, where you see maybe about 3,000 or 12,000 human beings in that surrounding, there where you carry health facility. Those people should be able to walk at least about 2 or 3 hours to access health facility. That's how the health facility look like.
Okay, thank you. So more talk on the distance people, because we don't call them villagers. They are far off, that's why we call them distance people. What we see here is not that we're going to the villages to collect the money first, then we'll buy the drugs. No. If the drugs are at the health facility, you will pay something. So when you come there, that's the time you're going to pay. So if you don't come for the services, you will not pay. So even if you are far off, the day you come for the services, that's the time you will pay.
So it's a very engaging forum here in the City Hall. Everybody is trying to make sure his or her voice is heard. Several students were also given chance to have their say as well. The panelists are now preparing to give their closing statements, and with all 5 of them already showing support for this new drug revolving proposal, I guess their final comments might just sum up all of the concepts they have as it relates to supporting this plan.
Thank you. We'll move on to Mr. Benny.
Okay, so in summary, we have gathered here today, and I think through observation I can observe that every one of you are willing that there should be a fee attached to the various health facility, that when you go, you will gain that level of respect. So let's try to work towards say that we will pay a little thing. Unexpected death will not always happen in the line of looking for money, in the line of buying drugs. Thank you.
Well, I just want to say, women, when we started doing Ebola, and we're Ebola free in Bopolu County, we started washing our own hands before even bucket could come. We faced our own things, clean our place before they could even start bringing Ebola bucket. I want us to start that.
Yeah, how many of us here have ever sat by our food, very delicious food, but have not been able to eat it? We don't even have the appetite to eat them. How many of us here have slept with our beautiful women or our handsome, loving husbands, but we have not been able to do anything? It's because of our sickness. So my question is, what is it to you if you have all the money, if you have all the good things under the sun, and you are not able to utilize them? Thank you.
Thank you. We'll move on to Mr. Pana.
Yep. Okay, again, I tell you people, thank you for coming. It's good to help yourself, because helping yourself is more guaranteed than somebody helping you, because the person may die today or tomorrow, or what he or she is helping you may finish. But what you get and help yourself is more stronger than other people. Thank you. Spread the message so that we can be healthy, because health is wealth. Thank you.
So this community media forum is done and dusty now. Members of the audience are exiting the hall, but the discussion doesn't seem to be anytime soon. I just saw 2 persons having a conversation and walked past me expressing disagreements. One of them seems to have little doubts about the proposal. The other said that, look, I can support this thing if the government explained it better, if we know how much we'll be paying for drugs. The other one said he doesn't think that government should stop footing the bills. It is the responsibility of the government. So these debates will continue as we move on over the next couple of months, with this idea being introduced to the locals However, it's always the case that the fear of the unknown is always a factor in any society. So that right outside of the Bopolu City Hall, we will now hear from some of those who have been attending the CMF. Are they convinced that this new approach would help mitigate some of the existing challenges at government-run health facilities? Let's hear from some of them.
Yeah, listen, for me, one thing I would be able to do positively, I can assure my people and our people that as of this date, whenever I'm carrying on awareness, I will include this information in my awareness. Whenever I go to the market ground where you get marketeers assembled there to do their business transaction, I make sure I tell them the importance of paying this amount so that the law can be enforced, at least to take share. Because one thing I will make them to understand is that if we were not in Bopolu, definitely the clinic couldn't be built. Definitely the hospital will not be built. It is because we are here. That's the reason why the hospital is built. So I'm going to sensitize them and have them informed with this information that make use of it. Make it your own business, put it in your shoe, and own it for yourself. And owning it, that is, go and pay that little amount that the people are telling you to pay and be able to get the real treatment.
Okay, for my sister.
I got to know that all affairs, the government, the hospital will just rely on the government. But I got to know that the government paying some part and the citizens are paying some. And the citizens even paying more than the government. I got to know that. And I will test money. Oh, maybe they will say, I'm going to the hospital, I will not pay money. I will not want, they're going to put me, I will pay money, I will not pay money because the government paying. I will say, no, you should pay your money. Because if you pay your money, they will send for good jobs and you will get good medicine so you can be healthy.
Yeah, our healthcare financing, I think, is very important because today, majority of us got to know that we have been dependent on the NGOs and not knowing we ourselves we have been spending more money. So why not the money that we are paying from our pocket, which is something like 42% of the overall, why not we pay it to the various facilities that will be enabling the facility to produce or provide rescued drugs for our people, because most of our people, when they are given the prescriptions, they may mistreat themselves because they may not buy the right for drugs and they may not know the potency of that drugs and it may cause harm instead of help.
So it seems like many of these participants here at the CMF have probably approved of it, or they've expressed some level of positive vibes as it relates to, this new idea. But whatever the case may be, these key national issues require a holistic approach. And by starting these conversations, no matter where you started, whether you started in the rural communities, in the semi-urban communities, it helps prepare locals to get ready to engage authorities and formulate ideas and have their say in these national discussions. This is how we come to the end of our trip today in Bopolu City, Bopolu County. Thanks for listening to our podcast. I'm Alpha Dafis Simpeni. Bye-bye.
This Local Voices Liberia Media Network podcast sponsored by Internews Liberia Media Development Program with funding from UC. You can also download this podcast or listen to it again by going to our website www.localvoicesliberia.com or our Facebook page at Local Voices Liberia.